Greetings. This is Andre Barnes, and you are watching Finding Super Dad. Finding Super Dad is a blog that is for fathers, and it discusses fatherhood, and it's based on Malachi 4:6. And it says, He will turn the hearts of the fathers to their children, and the hearts of their children to their fathers. And here at Finding Super Dad, we just want to encourage fathers to be who they are, to be what they were purposed and designed to be, leaders of their household, a support for their children, counselors to their children, and give them the tools that will allow them to equip themselves to do just that. So this week I had an opportunity to interview Minister Eugene Snaberg, who is a juggernaut and a titan in fatherhood initiatives. He has been a part of the Obama administration for the Department of Justice and has created many fatherhood initiative programs. He is a dynamite speaker and just a pleasure to interview. Cover about yourself during your search for your father.
So I think when I was a little boy, it's funny going back as far as I can remember, like when I was very young, like say 8 or younger, I don't even think I was cognizant that my dad wasn't in the home. I just think it was me, my mom, my sister. I just was being a kid. I was having fun and going to school and playing in the sandbox. Because I got a little older and started seeing more images of dads on TV or more kids with their dads and stuff, I think just naturally any child's eventually going to say, hey, like, what's going on with my dad? And I think that's kind of what happened one day is I just kind of asked my mom, and she told me what she was prepared to tell me at the time based on my age. And she said, your dad's name is Charles Graham. Told me about how they met and so forth, how they kind of went their separate ways before she even knew I was pregnant. And she hadn't talked to him since. And so I say all to say, what did I learn about myself? So as I got older, I started asking questions, started looking unsuccessfully. And as I just kept getting older and older, I just kind of started seeing more and more how, and being more conscious of how my dad not being there was affecting me, right? I up to a period of time where I was kind of resentful towards him, feeling like, hey, you kind of left. You knew you had a child out there and then you kind of left. It turns out he actually did come back around when I was very young, like the first few months of me being alive, and didn't know that my mother was pregnant, but came back around to kind of
And Minister Eugene, I wanted to ask you, because that resentment there, that's a lot for someone to deal with, and a lot of people, they don't even get to the point where they can even deal with that resentment. Like, what kind of things did you do, or was it more of a time kind of healed all as you were looking? What did you do to deal with that resentment?
Yeah, that's a great question. I definitely have spent decades processing this, so it wasn't something that just overnight. I think, obviously, when I gave my life to Jesus Christ at age 17, that was a big part of my healing process, knowing that I have been forgiven so much and that God expects us to forgive. So I think that was a big part of it, right? Regardless of what was going on with my mother and father, it's my obligation as a believer, as a Christian, to forgive. And so that was, absent that, I probably wouldn't have been able to, but just also understanding as I've gotten older, like a lot of parents, there's no perfect parents, there's no perfect father or mother. Usually parents do the best they can with the tools that they have available to them. And I think my father, having been really damaged by Vietnam, probably played a lot into his inability to be available. And also my mother didn't know him well and didn't necessarily trust him. And so my mother probably was the one who was more of a gatekeeper than anything. And so I probably had a little bit of resentment towards my mom for making that decision. But at the same time, as I've gotten older, she was just making the best decision that she could. You know, she wanted to make sure her children were safe and so forth. And so I don't harbor any hard feelings towards my mom either for that decision.
Right.
You know, I know that God worked it out for my good, but certainly the longing and the wanting to know has actually helped steer my career. So now I'm a consultant in the responsible fatherhood arena. My company is called Fathers Forward. Pretty much the pain that I experienced as a child and as a young adult and as an adult God has really turned that into a gift. And so it's been a gift for me because my journey and getting to a place of healing, but also I've been able to encourage a lot of people along the way that are also struggling. And so even though my pain can be a gift for somebody else, if somebody could say, hey, if he could overcome that, I can overcome it too, or they can learn something from my story, then it'll all be worth it.